So hi and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be talking all about dependents in the UK. So whether you're already in the UK on a dependent visa or you've got a dependent or you're still out of the UK planning to move to this beautiful country as a dependent or bringing your own dependents, then look, this video is 100% for you. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, obviously you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate the time you take to watch these videos and I hope that you're actually implementing. So we'll be talking about dependents. So who is a dependent? Who can come with you to the UK or stay with you in the UK as a dependent? But most importantly, what are the documents that you need as evidence, as proof that that person is indeed a dependent, and who is not considered a dependent? And if you want somebody to be your dependent, how can you prove that? What are the documents that you need that are going to obviously get a successful visa application? So that's what I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because look, there's been a lot of confusion. Every day I get at least one person message me saying, Melvis, can I bring X person to the UK as my dependent? Melvis, I'm in the UK, can I bring my X person, whoever it is, different relatives as a dependent, which is why I felt the need to do this video. So before I get started, I'm all about career progression in the UK. My name is Melvis. I work as an advanced nurse practitioner, myself for the NHS here in England. And, I started my career in the UK as an international student, working as a band one carer in a nursing home. I have now progressed to an advanced nurse practitioner. So, this is a sector that I know quite a lot about and that I'm very enthusiastic about. So I have a private coaching program, nursing career bootcamp, where I support nurses, carers, midwives, student nurses with career progression in the UK. So if you check the about section of this YouTube channel, you see a link to my private coaching program, Nursing Career Bootcamp, and please do feel free to join. If you need support, whether it's getting visa sponsorship jobs, whether it's progressing from a carer to a qualified nurse or midwife, whether it's career progression as a qualified nurse or midwife already, and you're thinking, I don't want to be stuck at band 5, band 6, band 7. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to be able to earn more and work fewer hours. Or you're thinking of starting your own side hustle, work from home opportunities. Like, that's what I'm all about. I'm very passionate about all those things because that's what I do myself. And I see that it all works. So again, non-clinical healthcare jobs, you want to check that out because it's vital. So check the comment section below and join my newsletter. It's only going to take you less than 30 seconds. You drop your name, your email, and that is it. And let's get into, the content while we're here. So a dependent, obviously, as the name suggests, is somebody that depends on you, So the UK government, unlike other European governments, which is a shame, they don't really consider parents as dependents. For me, that's the most disappointing thing about the dependent visa in the UK. They don't really consider your parent, because how can you be in a country, you've got your parents and they can't really come join you? Obviously, if your parents are coming to the UK, they need to get a tourist visa, which means that they are visiting. And there are so many restrictions that come with tourist visas. And in fact, many people don't even get them granted. Most of those visas are actually refused. Even when you're here, you're working, you're doing everything right, perfectly well, they still say no. So if you want me to do a video on this, how to make sure that your visa application is successful, I've also done videos on how to make sure that your visa is successful. You want to check this channel, make sure that you subscribe and be up to date with everything. So your dependents, obviously you can bring your spouse. I think that's the obvious one that many people find kind of easier, but the confusion with the spouse one is always, if we're not yet legally married, can the person come with me? So I'm going to be talking about this as well. So the first thing is, if you're not married to the person, well, if you're married, obviously, then you've got your marriage certificate, pretty easy. If you're a lady and you've changed your name, you don't need to worry about that. But you do need to provide evidence of that name change, whether it's your birth certificate or your passport or your marriage certificate. That's evidence, because it is well known in many countries that people change their names after marriage. So it is not something that you need to worry about, but you do need to have that supporting evidence, for that particular fact. So that's what you need for a spouse. Then if it's somebody that you're not married to, but you're in a relationship, you don't need to get married if you don't want to because of the visa. What you can do is you need to show evidence, proof that you've lived with that person for the last 2 years. So if you're living together, then you can show that evidence. For example, how you may be thinking, Melvis, how do I show evidence that we're living together? Well, there are bills, there are rents. Who is paying the bills? Who's paying the rent? Have you got receipts? Have you got that evidence? Even photos. I've seen people use even photos of like holiday trips and all sorts of things, because for UK visas, you want to gather as much evidence as it is possible. So that is it for spouse. So you don't need to be legally married, but if you're not married, you need to show evidence that you've been living together for the last 2 years, and you can still get the visa. It doesn't matter whether is the male or the female applying as a dependent. It really doesn't change anything. All is that you've got that evidence. So that is it for spouse. Then when it comes to children, the laws are a little bit different. When it comes to the kids, it's a little bit different. If your children are over the age of 18, then obviously in the UK, they're already adults. They're already considered adults. Even though you may be looking at them thinking, oh, this is my baby, you're 30, you're still my baby. But no, it doesn't quite work. They're an adult already. So let's leave that out. If your child is less than 16 years old, then that's fine. You just do documents for them. And these laws are the same whether you're in the UK or out of the UK. It's exactly the same. So if you're already in the UK and you need to apply for dependents, the process and everything is exactly the same thing. And the rules, the requirements, the documents are the same as well. So if your child is under the age of 16, that's absolutely fine. You just apply for them. There's no complications at all. If you have an adopted child, again, it doesn't matter, because adoption comes with the legal implications and documents. You can put those legal documents together as well to help and support with your application. And also that is legal. And then if your child is already more than 16 years old but less than 18, which means that between 16 and 17, before they get to 18 basically, you need to have evidence that that child is still depending on you financially. You need to have evidence that you live together, and that child has to be unmarried, which means that if your child is 17 and married, they are no longer your dependent, even though they are less than 18. And again, I've seen people have visas refused and this because they have a child, who's got a child already, who wants to come with their own child. It doesn't quite work, because if they're already married, then they are not considered your dependent, even if they are less than 18 years old. So you need to be aware of that, because of that marriage, because they've already got their own family as well. So it changes a lot. So you need to be aware of some of these differences that come with, the circumstances, and it should help you with the supporting documents. So if your child is between 16 before they get to 18, you need to have bank statements. Are you sending money to them? Are you supporting them tuition fees, for example? You know, where is their address? Have they got evidence that they're living with you? Those are the things that you're going to need to show. And the more evidence you have, the better. If there's any piece of paper that you're thinking, is this going to be valid? Is this going to help? If you're not sure, add it there as long as you've got it, to make your case to make your case heard. So dependent visas, obviously, there's a lot of cliche when it comes to it. So you need to, is the documents that you provide that are going to make your case for each person that you want to present as your dependent. So again, if you've got any questions, I want to leave them in the comment section below. If you have a question that is more private, because I understand that this can be a sensitive topic, use my newsletter. You'll be able to see my email address. You'll also see my WhatsApp number. You can message me directly and I'll be able to respond to you. The response may not be immediate, depending on what's going on and how busy I am, whether I'm at work as well. But I will get to it, at some point, to make sure that I reply to that message. But if you need my support, you need help, then I support through my private coaching program, because there's then that tailored, individualized and personalized support that I'm able to provide, because we have weekly live sessions, plenty of time to meet up, to discuss further, because I don't like to give sometimes very generic advice that is not going to be valid for your personal circumstances. And that's what YouTube is for. And that's why you need to be careful with the information that you take from YouTube, because it's very generic information and it's not tailored to you. But obviously, when you're part of my program, then I can tailor that information, look at your own specific circumstances. What documents can you provide? What do you need? What's going to help out with the application? And that's the difference.